Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmritamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtan Stapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhan Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarabhyascha Kripasindubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Namo Namo Niruddhaya Hishikeshendriyatmane Namaha Paramahamsaya Purnaya Nivritatmane Swarga Pavarga Dwaraya Nityam Suchi Sade Namaha Namah Hiranya Viryaya Chaturhotraya Tantave. Okay, Hare Krishna. So today is a very special day as we're going to be celebrating Govardhan Puja, or the appearance of Sri Giriraj, who is non-different from Krishna in Tattva, but he is also considered to be a servant of Krishna. So both these principles exist in Giriraj. He is non-different in Tattva, but he is a servant of Krishna. So before we discuss any principle in our lineage, which is the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, thank you. Before we discuss any principle in the Gaudiya Vaishnava lineage, it is very important for us to follow a certain system of receiving knowledge. So the first thing that we would want to do is we would want to see what Krishna spoke personally in this regard, and that is found in the Bhagavad-Gītā. And then we take the principles enunciated in the Bhagavad-Gītā, and then we go on to Srimad Bhagavatam, which is non-different from Krishna. It's Krishna Lila. And then we go on to see how the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam are being applied in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by those who are living the principles of the Bhagavatam. So there is Bhagavat Dharma in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then there is the Bhagavata who is also living the Bhagavatam. Both have to be examined. So we'll start with the Bhagavad-Gītā. So in the Bhagavad-Gītā, the verse that I would like to choose for me to be able to talk on today's topic is 15:15. So 15:15 is also considered the Paribhashi Sutra of the Bhagavad-Gītā. It is considered to be the essence. There are many exemplary verses, especially towards the end. There are many confidential verses which are being spoken by the Lord. However, 15:15 is considered to be the essence of the Bhagavad-Gītā. It is considered to deliver the actual purpose and the whole subject matter of the Bhagavad-Gītā in a wonderful way. So I'm just going to reach 15:15. We'll talk a little bit about the translation, we'll understand why, and then we will go on. Sarvasya chaham hri sannivishto Maktah smrita jnanam apohanam cha Vedesha sadveram eva vedyo Vedanta krit vedavat eva chaham. I am seated in everyone's heart. Please repeat after me. I am seated in everyone's heart. And from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta. And I am the knower of the Vedas. So the essence of this verse is that where Krishna is defining that the whole purpose of any form of Vedic study is to ultimately reach the platform of knowing Krishna. And knowing Krishna, from a philosophical point of view, we call it Sambandha Gyan. So there is Sambandha, where Krishna Sambandha is to know who is Krishna, to know who we are, to know the specific relationship that we have with Krishna. And then once that knowledge is obtained, and as we progressively attain that knowledge, as we evolve through the chanting of the holy names, and we reach the point of chanting the pure name, then at that point in time, the abhideya, or the practice of Krishna consciousness, bears full fruit, and we are able to serve Krishna in Vraja whilst being on this planet. And that is abhideya. Prayojana is the sadhya of our process. Prayojana is the sadhya of being able to attain Krishna Prema. The goal of Krishna consciousness is to attain Krishna Prema. Everything that is being done ultimately is to attain the platform of being able to love Krishna in the mood of the Vrajavasi in Goloka. And that mood is Shuddha Bhakti. Ultimately, that is the goal. So when Krishna says in 15:15 that the purpose of the Vedas is to know me, he is particularly saying the purpose of the Vedas is to know that you have to attain Sambandha Gyan, you have to engage in activity which is Abhideya, and ultimately you have to attain the Sadhya, the goal of Krishna consciousness, which is Krishna Prema. He is telling us that. He is saying, I am supposed to be the person, because by the Vedas, knowledge comes, and what do you do with knowledge? Even if you receive knowledge in the professional circle, what are you expected to do? You are expected to function according to such knowledge. Aren't you supposed to function according to your training, according to your reading? That's the purpose of education, even mundane education, what to say of spiritual education. So Krishna says, I'm going to give you knowledge, I'm going to tell you who you are. Okay, that was... Okay, that was... Alright, so I don't know what that was, but shook me up. So anyways, I didn't lose my train of thought. So the point we were trying to make was, even if we were to engage in professional circles, we act on knowledge. So why would Krishna say knowledge? He's saying you're going to receive knowledge, so they're going to be able to act upon that knowledge. And what is that? Because you act in a certain capacity. At work, you act at home based on the identity that you have assumed. You see? For me to function as a father, I have to have knowledge that I'm the father. For you to function as a professional, you have to have knowledge that you are a professional in such and such organization, and then you're being given duties, and then you perform activity based on such duties. So knowledge leads to the performance of action. And not knowing who we are leads to non-performance of action, which is the natural consequence. So when someone says you don't know what to do, it means you don't know what your duties are, which means you really haven't understood the role, the position, so on and so forth, in the mundane context. Right? It's acceptable. So in a similar context, Krishna is saying that I am the purpose of the Vedas. Once you know who I am, and once you know who you are, and once you know the relationship, the Sambandha Gyan, the maturity of the Sambandha Gyan is going to allow you to function in full Krishna consciousness, and full Krishna consciousness is Krishna Prema. So we are all practicing to be Krishna conscious in this organization. That is ISKCON's purpose. We come in here to practice Krishna consciousness, or rather reach the platform of being able to execute Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is making it very clear. Now let's go into the specific pastime that occurred in Vraja. Okay? It's very significant. There is Dharma, which has to do with the mundane world, which is enunciated by the 4 Vedas. And then there is Dharma, which is called Bhagavat Dharma. One who has taken up the path of Bhagavat Dharma has to know how to function in Bhagavat Dharma. One who has taken up the path of regular Dharma has to function in that purpose. So when we are assembled here, we are on the path of Bhagavad Dharma. So Krishna is now wanting to draw lines by this pastime. It's a very significant pastime. Okay? It's a heavy pastime. Understand that it's a heavy pastime. It's glorious because we see it in the context of Chapan Bhog. We see it in the context of, celebration, so on and so forth. But go back to Vraja. When this pastime of Giriraj appearance and Govardhan Lila appeared, Vraja was devastated. Vraja was under devastation, material devastation. Understand that. It was Mahapralaya in Vraja. So do not ever take this pastime as a light pastime which could just be passed over. It's a wonderful festival. It is probably the most significant festival we can have because it is defining Bhagavad Dharma. Okay? It is defining what you as a devotee ought to be doing while you are on this planet. How do you operate under crisis is being defined by this particular pastime. Okay? So there are two levels of operation. If you're going to be following Varnashram, then Varnashram is a situation where you follow all the rules and regulations. You go, to the T. I know in South India, there are acharyas in the Sri Vaishnava Varga and so on, who are completely well versed with all these mantras, where if they go out and step out in the night and they have to draw water from the well, they would have to chant mantras. They have to, have a bath, they chant mantras. So they have all kinds of procedure in Varnashrama, which one has to function in Brahmanical life, in Vaishya, Shudra, Kshatriya, different functions. Okay? Today, since we are a part of industrialized society, such functions have completely collapsed. There's no meaning. So what is the Dharma that we can adopt? The Dharma we can adopt was introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Dharma that we can adopt is Bhagavad Dharma. There is no other Dharma to be adopted in Kali Yuga. It is Bhagavad Dharma. Chanting of the holy names, surrendering to the holy names, serving the holy names, serving those who chant the holy names. This is Bhagavad Dharma, and that is the only possibility in Kali Yuga because we are intellectually pygmies. We have very little intellectual capacity. Our senses are very weak, you see. I can't read with these glasses. I got to speak with these glasses and I got to remove these and read with another something else. That is the amount of dysfunctionalism that is a part of our physical body. So we are gathering information from the physical body. How do we expect to function? Our functioning cannot be optimal. We cannot gather knowledge optimally. So how can we function? So the Bhagavad Dharma is the Dharma of Kali Yuga. That was what was introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When we say Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam, Kalo nasteva, 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 gatiranyata, this is because there really isn't any other way. Bhagavad Dharma is the way. So now what is Bhagavad Dharma? Krishna is creating a scenario 5,000 years back and he's enunciating these principles when he was 7 years old. Let's understand that. What is Bhagavad Dharma? Now we'll go into Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll have to understand Bhagavad Dharma from Bhagavatam because the Bhagavatam is Amala Purana. There is absolutely nothing mundane which ever comes up in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Every verse, every letter, specifically translated by Prabhupada. It is said that the translation of Prabhupada of Srimad Bhagavatam and all the scriptures written by Prabhupada was done so carefully that even the Sanskrit translation was to motivate bhakti. Okay? So now the specific verse which we want to talk about is in the first canto, second chapter. So the verse is Savai Pumsham Paro Dharmo Yato Bhakti Radokshaje Ahaituki Apratihata Yayatma Suprajidati. This is the verse defining Bhagavad Dharma. Okay? And what is the translation? The supreme occupation, Dharma, for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendental Lord. Supreme occupation. There's no other duty which is considered to be superlative to that which is being given here. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. The two key words in this verse are ahaituki and apratihata. So we'll talk about ahaituki and apratihata and then we will go into the Lila itself. What is ahaituki? Hetu is cause. Ahaitu is that which does not have a cause. So, activity that you perform and dharma that you perform should not have a material basis. It cannot have a material cause. Ahaituki. If it has a material cause, then it surely is not considered to be paradharma. It is surely not Bhagavad Dharma. That is regular mundane varnashram dharma. So my engaging in a Vedic sacrifice for the purpose of attaining a fruit, karma kanda, okay, is having a certain fruit in focus. So there is hetu, there is material cause. So my wanting to focus on a procedure for attaining certain fruits is hetu. Our acharyas have also included liberation along with this. So the 4 different principles or motives, ayanas of life, of dharma, which is performing fruitive action, duty, attaining the fruits of such duty, which is artha. This is subtle currency. Before you see dollars in your bank account, artha has to come in the subtle account. It doesn't work otherwise. Okay, you might accumulate subtle account, artha, dollars in the previous lifetime, but if you want to see dollars this lifetime, this has to be there in the subtle bank account, otherwise it doesn't work. So dharma, artha, kama, to satisfy our desires, and then ultimately, after frustration of all these efforts, proceed towards the path of liberation. Moksha. Moksha is jnana. Moksha is jnana because one realizes that being on this planet, doing all of this, enjoying these fruits is ultimately useless. First, there has to be jnana. Then once someone comes into the jnana marga, they want to make a process. They want to say that since all of this is completely useless and my body is incapable of sense gratification, let me proceed and make an attempt to move forward in life, which is to leave the material system of birth and death. That is moksha. Our acharyas have rejected the 4 principles. They have completely rejected it because those objectives have many flaws. One, it does not fall under the principle of Bhagavad Dharma. Okay? Number 2, it also violates the principle enunciated in this verse. It is not ahaituki. These activities have a material cause. Mukti and bhukti are both materially situated, even though mukti is superior. And then comes the principle of apratihata, which is very, very important. Apratihata is that which is not interrupted. That which is not interrupted is a situation which cannot happen in the material world. Even the deities whom you worship in the material phenomena, they have a beginning and they have an end. So where is the question of no interruption? There is going to be Mahapralaya, where which one breath of Mahavishnu, Karunagashaya Vishnu, all the Brahmas disappear. All the Brahmas disappear because all the worlds they manage disappear in one breath of Karunagashaya Vishnu. There is an interruption. If one wants to be situated in any planet in the material sphere, there is going to be an interruption to your activity in the real sense. One might say it's going to be thousands of years, but we are talking about truth. When we talk about truth, the time factor doesn't matter. You might take 1,000,000 years, it is still false because you are going to come back. You are a part of the material realm. That is apratihata. Plus, there's a second principle which can also be understood. If one is engaging in fruitive activity, and let us assume that you are engaging in fruitive activity of wanting to obtain immense wealth, you are engaging in sacrifices, you are engaging in mantra, you are engaging in austerity, you want to obtain siddhis, you want to obtain powers, okay? What do you do with this process of sadhana after you have attained such? There is an interruption. Oh, I have attained it, so what is the process and why should I continue doing it? There is pratihata. There is a complete end of the process. But our process is ahaituki, because the holy names have descended from Goloka. They are not a part of this world. They are not a part of this world. The holy names are completely transcendental. They are non-different from Krishna. They have descended from the spiritual sky. And our process is also chanting the holy names and attaining the process of attaining prema is ultimately to be able to chant the pure name. Our process is to purify our chanting progressively as each sunrise occurs. my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, he had a principle. He used to wake up in the morning and he used to say that today is the last day on this planet. And his planning and his mood of execution of devotional principles used to be in that mood, that today is the last day. So let me be intense in whatever I do. Let me be very intense. And then let me be able to execute my mission with such intensity. Okay? So our process of chanting the holy names, the sadhana and the sadhya are both completely transcendental. And both do not get interrupted. We initially chant the name which is filled with offenses. That is namaprada. And then when the offenses clear up, we chant namabhas. Okay? And then when namabhas is also further refined and we receive mercy and we have a perfect sambandha with the Lord, then we are able to chant the Shuddha Nama. In all these, ultimately, we are not moving away from the process of glorifying the holy names. So our process and our goal are all completely aligned. There is no interruption whatsoever and everything is completely transcendental. Everything is completely transcendental. So if there is any dharma to be performed, it is Bhagavad Dharma, which is the conclusion of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the most authoritative scripture. If there is any dharma to be performed, it is Bhagavad Dharma. Now go back 5,000 years during Govardhan Lila. The Vrajavasis are cowherd men. They are business class people. Their whole function is to be able to manage the cows, to protect the cows, so that the cows themselves, who are part of agriculture, they are a part of raising crops, the cows contribute there, the cows contribute milk, everything is being managed in the Vedic system by the cow. Everybody has a cow. You see, there was this movie some time back. It was actually a documentary. What was it? One home, one land, and one cow. And one home, one land, and one cow, and everything is taken care of by just those three principles. Because the cow was able to do everything. So now, since they are Vrajavasis, they have this system. They were all following regular Varnashrama. And regular Varnashrama is very nature responsive. What does this mean? It is very, very healthy. Regular Varnashrama is very healthy because for everything, at the very least, they had to depend on a superior source. If the crops have to come up, they have to depend on God. So you pray to God for crops. They are dependent on God for water. They are dependent on God for everything. So there's a lot of dependence on the Lord, which is very healthy. However, it is not Bhagavad Dharma. It is not Bhagavad Dharma. So Krishna, 5,000 years back, when he noticed that his father, Nanda Maharaj, okay, was worshipping, or rather he was setting things up to worship Lord Indra, because Lord Indra is supposed to provide waters, and the waters are ultimately going to be used for irrigation. So when he noticed that his father was going to be worshipping Indra, he said, no, this is the time for me to make this switch, to introduce Bhagavad Dharma. Okay? But he did not want to spoil the rasa, the extraordinary Shuddha Bhakti rasa that was flowing in Braja. You see? Bhakti Adhikar is very rare. Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar is most rare. We are very fortunate that we are coming in touch with Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu distributed the Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar on the streets through the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar is very rare. Uddhava Prabhu, who is extraordinarily close to Krishna, he did not have Shuddha Bhakti Adhikar. He was sent mercifully by Krishna into Vraja so that he could really come in touch with Shuddha Bhakti of the Vrajavasis. So he did not want, Krishna really did not want to interrupt the Shuddha Bhakti rasa that was flowing in Vraja between him, his father, the cowherd boys, the cowherd girls, so on and so forth. So he said, do not worship me. He said, worship Govardhan, logically. Because if he says, worship me, then the Shuddha Bhakti rasa would have this Aishwarya, this opulence of Aishwarya, and that is really going to bring it down in terms of quality. You see? So he wanted the Shuddha Bhakti Rasa to be maintained, so he instructed his father saying, worship Govardhan. Govardhan is offering you everything. Govardhan is offering you grass. Govardhan Giriraj is offering you, the grazing grounds for your cows. Govardhan is offering you shelter. There are so many wonderful things which Govardhan is offering you. Worship Govardhan. Okay? Krishna instructed this. But because of the extraordinary love which Nanda Maharaj had towards Krishna, he did not question the philosophical aspects of that. He immediately said, let us worship Govardhan. Okay? Now the real scenario happens, because Bhagavad Dharma cannot be established without a laser-like focus. There has to be intensity. Without intensity, you cannot really experience the fruit of Bhagavad Dharma. That is the next step. So what happens? The moment Krishna said that Indra, being the demigod, Indra is a position, someone who is sitting in that position is going to be extraordinarily worried about their position. They become very sensitive, and this is seen even in the modern day system. You see that in the corporations where everybody is shaky. They're very, very sensitive. There's a tremendous amount of political, motives, even in regular corporations, purely because of this particular situation, where nobody wants their seat to be taken away. So Lord Indra saw this particular situation, saying, oh, someone is taking away my power. He is instructing the worship of the hill. So this is something which has to be stopped. So when the cowherd boys, the cowherd men, and all the Brajavasis worship Govardhan, this results in a downpour of devastation. What did I say? For Brajavasis, the knowledge of Bhagavad Dharma came when devastation occurred. There was devastation. So do not underestimate the circumstances where the pure Shuddha Bhakti can be received. Okay? It was a big thing. There was complete devastation of all the lands of Braja. There was a downpour of rain, and the downpour of rain was equivalent to the end of the world, the pralaya that occurs. The pralaya, the Mahapralaya that occurs where there is complete destruction, that was the extent of rain which was flooding through Braja. Okay? So now you have several principles of the Bhagavad-Gītā being enunciated in this particular pastime. So we will go into those principles. Okay? Now the first and foremost principle is Krishna wanted to establish 15-15. So he said, stop the business of regular Varnashram. Let us start Bhagavad Dharma. I am here. Okay? He inaugurated Bhagavad Dharma with this pastime. Then let us go further to Bhagavad-Gītā towards the end. What does he say in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā? Okay, the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad-Gītā is instructive. Okay, let's talk about that. So, 18th chapter of Bhagavad-Gītā, 1864. Sarva guhyatmam bhuyaha shrunme paramam vachaha ishtoti me dradamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. This is very, very important, 18.64. Because you are my very dear friend. Because there is sambandha. There is sambandha. Because you are my very dear friend. I am speaking to you my supreme instruction. The most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. This is Krishna, 18.64. Most confidential knowledge. What does he say in 6.5? Manmanabo madbhakto madhyajamam namaskuru mame vashisi satyamte pratijane priyosime. Okay? Always think of me. Become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Again, you are my very dear friend, so I am promising this to you. And what is this condition? He says, always think of me. Become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. This is 18.65. Most confidential instruction. This is prema. No one can constantly think of Krishna 24/7 unless they are in love. Being in love with Krishna, in totality, is prema, with no distraction. Krishna prema. He says, Arjun, attain prema. Keep prema as your goal. Krishna Prema is your goal. Okay? Now, in 1866, what is Krishna saying? Krishna is revealing, and he knows that in your quest and in your goal, in your sadhya for Shuddhanam, in your sadhya for Prema, you will attain difficulties. So 18.66. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasmi ma suchaha. Krishna is saying, do not fear. He says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Okay? Abandon all varieties of religion. All kinds of upadharma, chaladharma, reject those. Surrender unto me. And he says, while you surrender unto me, you will feel vulnerable. Okay? Surrender is a position of vulnerability. Okay? If someone were to point a gun at you and we lift up our hands, we are surrendering, but it is very vulnerable. So is the case when you stand before Krishna and you say, Krishna, I surrender unto you, you may do whatever you please with me. It's a position of vulnerability. So what is Krishna doing? He is saying, do not feel vulnerable, I am there, Masuchaha. Do not fear. Now, take these two verses. For one to be able to attain Manmanavo Madbhakto Madhyajamam Namaskuru, okay, one also has to experience Sarvadharman Paritejya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. This is forced circumstances in Vraja. What happens? The great devastation, the extraordinary devastation of the rainfall in Vraja, the flooding, and this flooding was so extraordinary that it washed away the practical Vraja. Vrindavan was completely inundated. You can just imagine that we have flood warnings for one day of normal rains. This is pralaya. Complete devastation. Whatever identities the Vrajavasis had, saying this is my home, this is my land, this is this is that, everything was completely inundated. And what did they do? Krishna, who was 7 years old, picked up Govardhan with his left hand, with his little pinky. How many of us in this room would walk under a mountain which is being held by the pinky of a 7-year-old? How many of us would do that? You see, Mahaprabhu, you would? You were pretty adventurous.
I would have a lot of faith. I would do it.
You would do it. You know, you're on the way. You're on the way then. You're already ready then. That's fantastic. But there's your 7-year-old. He's holding this mountain. He's holding it like an umbrella. And when he's holding it as an umbrella, everybody is gathering around. What do you think they're absorbed in? You see, Shuddha Bhakti is so special. Shuddha Bhakti is so special that the cowherd boys of Sridham, Sudama and others, they are holding up their sticks and saying, oh, let me help Krishna. Let me balance it out. Oh, this might fall. Let me hold the stick up. Okay? And then all the cowherd girls, Krishna is 7. The cowherd girls, they're all looking at the hero in complete absorption. They're all looking at him in complete absorption. This occurred for 7 days, inundation. Complete absorption. Manmanabo Madbhakto Madhyajimam Namaskuru, 7 days. Complete surrender. Okay? And all the while, no one believed that he was God. It was completely done in Shuddha Bhakti, where there's even a tinge of he is supreme did not come into the picture. It was purely confidence that this is the object of my love. Whatever he does is fine. He asks me to abandon my centuries practice of worshipping Indra. I will abandon that. I will abandon everything. I will worship Govardhan. Okay, now there's devastation. Even that is fine. Let it happen. Okay? And then everybody gathers around Krishna and they're completely absorbed. Manmanabo madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Then is there suchaha? Ma suchaha. There is no fear. So this is the primary instruction. This is the primary instruction of this Leela, that in Bhagavad Dharma, as we practice Bhagavad Dharma, we don't solve our problems by depending on any other practice than the process of bhakti. Bhakti as a process in itself has a solution for everything, all problems. The process of bhakti has a very, very clear process of resolving issues. So what does Mahaprabhu say about this? What does Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say about the process of attaining Shuddha Bhakti? Mahaprabhu says, Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarori Vasahishnuna, Amani Manajena Kirtanya Sadadari. Why is this verse so important? Because it is defining the process of being able to chant the holy names. It is the process of being able to attain Shuddha Bhakti. Trinadapi Sunichena. And what is the meaning of that? The real meaning of humility, right? So what does Mahaprabhu say about this? There was a revelation. What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say about the process of attaining Shuddha Bhakti? Okay. Mahaprabhu says, okay, so thank you. So anyway, what does Mahaprabhu say about this process? Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarori Vasahishnuna, Amani Manadena Kirtane Sadahari. What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this process mean? What do you mean by Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarori Vasahishnuna? Does it mean that we have to lose our self-esteem? Do we have to be doormats? The answer is no. What it really means is that humility is defined as the ability to accept our circumstances in life as being arranged by the Lord. Isn't this what the Vrajavasis did during the inundation? Did they question Krishna? Did they look at him with hatred saying, you, Krishna, you instructed us to stop worshipping Indra. Look what you have done. Now there's inundation. Our houses have been washed away. Everything has been washed away. We do not have even a vocation. Did they do that? No. They practiced Trinadapi Sunichena Tarori Vasahishnuna Amani Manadena, which is accept your circumstances as being arranged by the Lord Himself. Okay? And then Trinadapi Sunichena also has a second meaning. Accept your circumstances as being arranged by the Lord Himself and have the courage to act upon your duties even in such circumstances. This is real humility, which is what was shown by the Vrajavasis when the Govardhan Lila was being portrayed. This is a strict, it's a beautiful way to understand Bhagavad Dharma. In Bhagavad Dharma, we do not do any machinations. We do not do any manipulation. In Bhagavad Dharma, bring it on. Bhagavad Dharma has one meaning. It means bring it on. Krishna, bring it on. I really want to chant your pure name. Bring it on. I know you're going to protect me. Bring it on. It's okay. Do what you please. I want to chant the pure name. I want to experience Shuddhanam. I want to experience Prema. I do not know if I will have the opportunity which I have in this lifetime. That is Bhagavad Dharma. That is real Bhagavad Dharma. We do not go and manipulate the material energy for our benefit. However, what we do is we surrender. So solving problems in Bhagavad Dharma is to surrender. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja hantam sarva papebhyo mokshayasmi. Then you have obstacles being removed. So what does this require? This requires one to understand that the goal of life is Krishna Prema. If you do not have the sadhya clear, and if there are multiple objectives in life, then there will be multiple ways to approach those. But if your objective is Krishna Prema, then Krishna has given those instructions very clearly. The Srimad Bhagavatam has spoken. There is authoritative scripture which has spoken. And practitioners have shown that as well. Our practitioners, scripture has spoken. Our practitioners have shown that. Plus you have examples going back 5,000 years. There are so many leelas. Have you not seen it? Does this make sense in terms of the intensity of the particular leela? This is actually an extraordinary leela, the Govardhan Lila, because it captures all the verses of the Bhagavad-Gītā, the essence, and the Bhagavatam, and then Krishna is introducing a shift, saying, follow Bhagavad Dharma. Forget about everything else. Follow Bhagavad Dharma. In Bhagavad Dharma, you surrender. That's it. And more you surrender, greater would be the gift of Sambandha Gyan. The more willing we become of wanting to attain the goal, the greater would be the gift of our relationship with Krishna. And that gift is far beyond liberation. So Srila Rupa Goswami is saying, Anya Vilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anabratam, Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam, Bhakti Uttama. Anya Vilashita Shunyam. Shunyam. Do not have any other Abhilasha, any other goal. Definition of Shuddha Bhakti. Jnana Karmadi Anabratam. Do not even worry about the pittance of liberation. Those who chant the Namabas stage attain liberation. Those who are chanting Aparadi Nam, they attain material desires which are not conducive. So why would someone who has the goal on prema even think about all of these as goals? So Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavratam Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam Bhakti Uttama. Right? This is Uttama Bhakti. One has to practice Uttama Bhakti, then one has to also follow the principles of Uttama Bhakti in managing life. One has to follow the principles of managing life through the scripture. Okay? So we are not karmakandis. However, there is a stage of evolution, and in that stage of evolution, depending on who we are, one has to be very careful about going from one stage to the other. So we seek help in terms of procedure. So we have our own samskara book, Satkriya Saradipika, which is given by Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami, one of the main acharyas, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. And his instruction was, Satkriya Saradipika says, you do all the samskaras that are due. And by doing all these samskaras that are due, what do? You again, ultimately, even after doing all of that, surrender. I might have done all of this, but yet I surrender. So that is the principle of Bhagavad Dharma. And that is the main principle that has been enunciated in this wonderful, wonderful pastime of Govardhan Lila. How to worship Giriraj. Now we have Giriraj, right? The Giriraj Shila. In Tattva, he is non-different from Krishna. And Krishna said, I'm non-different. So he manifested. Krishna entered into Giriraj and he manifested an extraordinary form, and that was the form that the Vrajavasis worshipped. Okay? Mahaprabhu, when he visited Vraja, he did not want to step on that particular mountain because this mountain is non-different from Krishna. Since he did not want to step on it, right, he introduced the whole prospect of parikrama. So our practice in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, because Mahaprabhu led from the front, is not to step on the mountain and climb and do all those things, because Mahaprabhu did, understood that the whole body is Krishna of Govardhan. Everything is Krishna. Every stone, every pebble, every grain is Krishna. He didn't want to step on it. So Mahaprabhu instituted the whole parikrama. That is 22 to 24 miles, one parikrama. And our acharyas, very serious practitioners, they used to do it every day. They used to do it every day. And I have, many of you here would have done it. It took me, I think we started out at 5:30 in the morning, we were done by 1 o'clock. Okay, in the afternoon. But perhaps those days, because of, better conditions spiritually, they probably would have done it in a much sooner time frame. So one of our acharyas, Sri Sanatan Goswami, he was doing this parikrama as a daily offering to Krishna. Every day he used to do parikrama. And then towards the end, when he was weak and he was physically unable, Krishna appeared and he told him that we don't want you to do this. Krishna said, don't do this. Sanatan Goswami said, I cannot stop because I've taken vows. I have to go around. Krishna says, no. Instead of doing this, I will give you an alternative process. And the alternative process is that you go around the Giriraj stone, Shila, 4 times. That will be counted as an entire parikrama. So you would still be maintaining the vow of going around Giriraj on a daily basis. However, because of your disability, because of your age, you don't need to do the whole parikrama, just go around 4 times. This was instituted by Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu also demonstrated the extraordinary nature of Giriraj by worshipping Giriraj, a Shila, from Govardhan. And then he passed on the worship of that Shila to Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And Raghunath Das Goswami's instruction from Mahaprabhu was, you offer, I think, eight Tulasi Manjaris every day. And then you offer first Abhishek and you offer 8 Tulasi Manjaris every day. This was the instruction given to Raghunath Das Goswami. He said, keep it very sattvic. Too many elaborate arrangements require rajas. So he said, keep it very sattvic. 8 flowers of Tulasi, 8, and then you offer Abhishek, that will be the worship. This was the instruction given to Raghunath Das Goswami. But in that sense, it is not Vaidhi. It is not worship according to Vidhi. That is worship according to attachment, which is instituted at a very high level, and that was why Mahaprabhu requested that you offer 8 flowers and then you offer Abhishek and that will be it, and you become attached to the Shila. This is not different from Krishna. And then he requested Sarup Damodar Goswami, his secretary, that every day, Sarup Damodar Goswami instructed Govinda, every day there should be some very special bhoga offered to Giriraj. What was the bhoga? It was kaja and then sandesh. Kaja and sandesh. These are 2 things that are offered to Giriraj, which was actually told by Mahaprabhu himself. And Raghunath Das Goswami used to be helped in this endeavor by Govinda Prabhu on the orders of Sarup Damodar Goswami, and this worship used to continue till the very end. So, all of this were very specifically instituted by our acharyas on how to worship, what to understand, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, we wanted also to bring this particular opportunity of parikrama on this most auspicious day to our devotees here. So, when you do parikrama, I am requesting that every one of you now have understood that the purpose of parikrama is to follow Bhagavad Dharma. The purpose of going around Giriraj is to attain prema, the sadhya. So please, please, please keep that goal in mind and ask for Shuddha Bhakti. Ask for the pure chanting of the holy names, because Giriraj is capable of bestowing anything. So we want to be careful. Take advantage on this auspicious day to ask for the most rare of all gifts. Okay? So the parikrama is 4 times. So whenever Krishna Manan Prabhu or whenever they say it's ready for parikrama, right? We can do 4 times parikrama, and then you don't show your back to the deities, and you also don't show your back to Giriraj. You do parikrama in such a way that you do parikrama carefully, and then you keep moving on, right? So 4 parikramas everyone. So whenever you're ready, you can request them, Prabhu. It's up to you, right? Now is better? Okay, so I think we can begin now, and then if there are any questions, we will take it up. I'm going to be here for some time. You can come and meet me and we can talk, okay? So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Giriraj Govardhan ki jai.